Good afternoon and welcome to the May 2000 meeting, the Finance Committee. Nice to sit on this side of the table, Mr. Chair. We have Charlie up at Albany, and first up on the agenda is adoption from the April 10th meeting of the Finance Committee, which are behind tab 2. I think there was subsequent mail behind tab 2. They got a motion to approve those meeting minutes.
So moved.
Very much.
Second.
Thank you, John. All in favor?
Aye.
Hearing none, that motion. We're going to be dealing with two financings today. First up is a small pit bond behind tab 3. And Matt, there's Matt. Matt will be presenting. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon, everyone. The Finance Committee is being asked to recommend to the full board a financing or financings on behalf of New York State. And the state would like the flexibility to issue the proposed bonds under either the sales tax revenue bond program and or the personal income tax revenue bond program. So the authorization will be for the issuance of multiple series of tax-exempt and or taxable fixed rate and or variable rate bonds issued at one or more times with a term of 30 years and an amount not to exceed $2.3 billion, again, under either the sales tax revenue bond program and or the personal income tax revenue bond program. Bonds are to be sold on either a competitive and or negotiated basis, again, under sales tax hit. The mechanics of the two programs are very similar. The major difference, however, is a stream of revenues that secures the bonds, sales tax revenue, as opposed to personal income tax revenue. The bonds will be issued for new money programs as well as refunding purposes and are expected to fund a variety of capital projects under various programs, including SUNY educational facilities, capital projects for the Office of Mental Health, the Office of People or Persons with Developmental Disability, and the Office of Alcoholism and Substance Abuse Services. In addition, various capital projects will be proposed under the Dedicated Highway Trust Fund, various capital projects under the South Local Street and Highway Improvement Program, as well as various healthcare grants. The funding plan calls for the refunding of certain fixed-rate bonds that were issued for various programs, including but not limited to the Personal Income Tax Revenue Bond Program, the Service Contract Bond Program, the Mental Health Program, and other state-supported debt programs. Funding candidates were either issued by the Dormitory Authority or by the Economic Development Corporation, the Environmental Facilities Corporation, or the Thruway Authority. When speaking of the security provisions, if the bonds are issued under the Sales Tax Revenue Bond Program, the bonds will be paid by the semi-annual payments made pursuant to a financing agreement between DASNY and the state, and the bonds are secured by a set-aside of 25% of the state's 4% sales tax be collected pursuant to statute and deposited in the Sales Tax Revenue Bond Fund. The current debt service coverage for all sales tax debt is 4.4 times. If the bonds are issued under the Personal Income Tax Revenue Bond Program, the bonds will be paid by the semi-annual payments made pursuant to the financing agreement between the authority and the state. And as discussed in prior board meetings, with the recent legislative changes, the bonds are secured by a set-aside 50% of personal income tax revenues collected pursuant to statute and 50% of a new employer compensation expense tax, with both taxes deposited in the Revenue Bond Tax Fund. The current debt service coverage for all outstanding PIT debt across all issuers is 3.7 times. And to conclude with, both programs are expected to be rated AA1, AAA, and AA+. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Matt. Question?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have any questions. It's a complex transaction.
I don't have any questions either.
No questions.
I had a couple, and more just related to what the monies will actually fund at the end of the day. The Dedicated Highway and Bridge Trust Fund is, what is that actually? And who decides where that money, is that going to like DOT, or is that? That's a DOT piece, not a throughway DOT, right? And then the other one, the CHIPS program, that goes, who decides that? Because that's like municipalities, is that funded by the like who decides?
I think both of these programs are DOT, but we'll double check in case one of them is throughway, but I'm pretty sure both are DOT.
Okay, and the last one, that's just, take me through the Office of Mental Health and Disabilities, the individual offices, they decide
Yes.
what projects get funded by that, and then do they go through their own environmental or the SEQR review, or they just?
So these are sort of the standard mental health facilities where they're either the state facilities or they are voluntary facilities, by not-for-profits who are providing the services on behalf of the state. On the secret question, I don't know, Mike or Ina, if...
There's, as to the bond issuance, there's an exemption secret that covers this, so we don't have to, for pit and sales tax.
No, I know for the bond, I just, the underlying project they fund, I guess they go through their own typical agency.
There would have
review?
when one done when the project was completed initially, and these are, if I'm reading it correctly, all were funding candidates. So they're existing facilities, and there's not a
No, like the new
new
project.
construction. Yeah, it's not like a new project review where you would be looking for additional evidence of seeker review.
Okay. I'm good. Any other questions, concerns? Hearing none, can I get a motion to recommend approval at tomorrow's full board meeting?
I can make that motion for approval.
Thank you. Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that carries. Next up is the New York City Health and Hospitals. Matt, you're presenting that too, right? That's behind tab
Yes.
4.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. And again, the Finance Committee is being asked to recommend to the full board a 14-year term for a bond issue in an amount not to exceed $395 million on behalf of the New York City Health and Hospitals Corporation, which is a component unit of the City of New York. This financing will include the refunding of all or a portion of DASNY's Municipal Health Facilities Improvement Program lease revenue bonds, New York City issue, Series 1998-1, Series 2001-2, and Series 2008-1 bonds. The security features include the rental payments and the amount of debt service from the City of New York, subject to annual appropriation, as well as a statutory intercept of state Medicaid payments to the City of New York. The expected ratings are AA2, AA-, and AA-. Regarding the New York City Health and Hospitals Corporation, or HHC, they're responsible for the operation of the municipal hospital system of the City of New York, and as a main element of its core mission, HHC provides, on behalf of the City of New York, comprehensive medical and mental health services, regardless of a patient's ability to pay. HHC is the largest public health care system in the United States and operates 11 acute care hospitals, 5 long-term care facilities, 6 diagnostic and treatment centers, as well as hospital-based and neighborhood clinics, and a certified home health agency. HHC provides essential inpatient, outpatient, and home-based services to more than 1 million patients every year in more than 70 locations across New York City's 5 boroughs. Regarding the proposed refunding, under current market conditions, it is anticipated to produce a net present value benefit of approximately $51.2 million, which represents approximately 12% of the refunded principal. The debt service payments are structured to maximize cash flow savings for the City of New York's financial plan years, which are the next 4 years, and there are no dis-savings in the out years. Regarding the program, DASNY has issued over $1 billion for HHC under the Municipal Health Facilities Improvement Program, and the City of New York has met all of its required debt service payments on time and in full. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Matt. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I have a matter currently pending before HHC, which makes it necessary for me to recuse myself from the vote.
Thank you very much.
And Mr. Chairman, just from a staff perspective, I too have recused myself from this work on this financing.
Thank you very much. Oh, sure. Does Department of Health have to do anything with this or no? Charlie?
This being, there's actually a special situation for H&H. I mean, it dates back to MICFA law, and from a past perspective, when it's an H&H refunding, we have not opined. The department has not opined on the project. So you don't have a department recommendation. It is a little unique, but it's just a matter of past practice. And we were aware of this financing. We could have if we wanted to, and we just chose to continue with the past practice.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else we should know, Charlie, or no?
No, nothing that I can bring up, and I can certainly move for approval.
Thank you, Charlie, and I'll second that. Any opposed? Clearly none, since there's only two of us. So that carries. And we'll recommend approval at tomorrow's board meeting. I don't think there's anything else on today's Finance Committee agenda, unless I'm missing something. Mr. Johnson, anything? Sandra?
I'll move for adjournment.
Move for an adjournment. I'll second that. I'm sure Charlie will.
Sure. I'm in for it.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
None opposed. Thus, we have concluded today's Finance Committee meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.